The density demonstration kit is another kit that's available from EnVision Environmental. This particular kit works very nicely with the groundwater simulator, especially for a more advanced group where you're trying to explain the concept of solutions, contaminants, and just general densities that are lighter or heavier than your water. This kit comes with the container you see here, a bottle of red salt water, blue alcohol solution, some EnVision green dye so that you can color your tap water or the filtered water that is included. There's also some small disposable pipettes and a plastic hydrometer so you can look at the gravity of the salt solution and compare that to the tap water. To do this demonstration, it's kind of nice to start with the filtered water. Taking the hydrometer, we can then pour that and we'll see that it measures right around 1, which it should. Pour that back into the container. It's important that after the first presentation here, that the hydrometer is completely clean and rinsed out before you put your tap water or filtered water in there. Otherwise, what you've just put in, for example, salt water, we'll put in a moment, will contaminate that and then contaminate your filtered or your tap water. We can then show to an audience that indeed the salt water is a pretty heavy saltwater solution, so it's kind of difficult to see. But you can actually see that the plastic unit in this case is well over 1.03 in specific gravity. You can see it sticking up there at the top. And if you were closer, you could actually see the unit through the material. We can then dump that back into the jar for later use. Again, remember what I said about properly cleaning out the hydrometer before the next use, because you can see that residual amount of salt water and that will affect later readings. For our demonstration for a group, we can take one of the disposable pipettes, and we fill this jug with tap water. On the back is a fill level line. We can show placing the pipette underneath the water level, slowly pushing it out into the tap water. The salt solution will sink to the bottom of the container. Taking our alcohol solution, do the same thing, put it underneath the surface, slowly squeeze it out, and we'll see that it is indeed lighter than water, common tap water. Now there is going to be some variation between your tap water and the filtered water. Especially if you're on a public water supply or even a well system, you may have various dissolved solids in there that affect and vary your water so the density is a little bit higher than 1. Taking your tap water, I've already filled this bottle up, I can add a few drops of the EnVision dye, which will change the specific gravity slightly, but not in a significant amount. Mix it up, and then put that down in, inject it out into the container. For the most part, it should stay near that middle level. Again, because tap water may have some additional dissolved solids, both public water and well water, you may see it drop down, as it is in this case, and rest right on top of that salt water layer. For those that are in coastal areas, this can actually start into a good discussion on saltwater intrusion into groundwater and what effect that has on the aquifer, how that gets pulled in, how that can contaminate the freshwater sources. We'll see if we can get a little bit better trace there of the green. Let me spread it around a little bit so we can see its effect with both the blue, which is lighter, and the red, which is heavier. You can see the separation there. I stirred the blue a little bit, so we're starting to see it intermix, but you still see a pretty distinct line between the different ones. Theoretically, if I also put some dye into the filtered water, we would see it settle somewhere right in this middle section. As mentioned earlier in the video, this is a nice introduction to the groundwater simulator demonstration, because these same dyes and solutions can then be used within the simulator itself to demonstrate groundwater movement, how those very items either float on the surface, floaters, contaminants, or sinkers which sink down, or saltwater intrusion effects within the groundwater simulator. Cleanup for this particular item is fairly simple. Just need to empty the jar, make sure you clean it and rinse it thoroughly, dry it out. Make sure that you, again, rinse thoroughly the hydrometer. The tap water, of course, if you're staying in one location, you can keep this bottle for future uses. Make sure each of the pipettes are properly rinsed out with clean water, or you need to label them in such a way that you remember this is the salt water, this is the alcohol, this is your tap water, and maybe a filtered water pipette. That way we don't cross-contaminate the various containers, as seen here.